You're live.
Okay. All right. Good evening, all. This is the September 12th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Madam Clerk, would you start by with the roll call?
Mayor Rilling, Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Camacho,
Here.
Mr. Frere,
Here.
Mr. Gilleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis.
Here.
5 will have a quorum.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with the approval of the minutes of the August 1st, 2022 minutes. Would someone like to move the item?
I'll move it.
Okay. It's been moved by Marty. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any additions, corrections, deletions, etc.? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the August 1st, 2022 minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
And I have to abstain since I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay, with one abstention, Ed Abrams, the motion carries and the minutes are approved. There is nothing apparently on the special appropriations item. So we're going to move to number 3, the transfer agenda. And I believe there's an item on the transfer agenda, and it involves the legislative, the Common Council, I suppose. Is there anyone here from the Common Council or the Department of Finance that would like to speak on that issue?
Yeah, I'll take this, Ed.
Okay.
So we all know that they're doing a rewrite of the charter, and they had to, or didn't have to, but chose to use outside counsel for that. So the bills are starting to come in. They're averaging about $5,000 a month for July and August. And we didn't have anything in other professional services for the legislative branch. So this is moving $9,400 from wages and salaries, and then $3,500 from office supplies into the other professional services so that we can pay these invoices.
Okay. When you say they're starting to come in, do you have any sense of what the costs will be?
When this went before the Common Council, I believe they estimated about $75,000.
Okay. And I take it that wasn't in this budget. It was
not. It was not. So this initial transfer is to get these first 2 invoices paid. And then in the beginning of October, when we have our next BET meeting, we'll do the budget rollovers and we'll take money from fiscal 22, enough to cover the outside counsel for this effort for the rest of the fiscal year. And if it's still going on for fiscal 24, we'll make sure that we get an estimate and put it in.
Okay.
Who is the, excuse me, Ed, who is the counsel that you're using? Is it one firm?
I don't know. I think it's one attorney.
Yeah, it's his name is Steve Mednick. I believe he's out of New Haven and has quite a bit of experience in this field.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, actually, I'm not sure if we moved this item. Can someone move it before we? So it's been moved by Ed. Is there any further discussion on the item? Any questions? All in favor of approving the transfer of a total of $13,000, $94.40 from wages and salaries, and $3,560 from office supplies, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries and the transfer is approved. Next item on the agenda is, it's 2 resolutions. It's item number 4 on the agenda, section C, and So basically, there are two resolutions. Madam Clerk, would you like to read the resolutions into the record?
I'll move the item, Ed.
All right, the item's been moved. Madam Clerk, would you move the resolutions into the record? Or read the resolutions into the record?
So mute.
Mute.
It's, I believe you're on mute.
My apologies.
Right.
Resolution requesting a special capital appropriation in the amount of 195,000 for the fire department for roof replacement at station number 5 at Meadow Street. Resolution number 2, resolution requesting a special capital appropriation in the amount of 25,000 for the fire department to purchase 3 new vehicles.
Okay, the items having been moved. Chief, are you here to? I'm sorry, Mr. Conti or Chief, are you here to discuss this for us?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. In regards to the roof, Mark has been involved with the architect and the bid process, so he can explain more on the actual numbers now.
Good evening, everybody. So we had gotten 3 or 4 prices on roofs, architects. I contracted Gill & Gill, and this is a 1971 building, and there really hasn't been any major work done on the roof other than some probably big patches over the years. So what we did is we did a walkthrough, and he drew it up, and we're basically bringing the building up to code with the roof. There are a lot of shortcomings on this roof that have never been addressed because of the building being so old. So this drawing actually brings us completely together and brings us all up to code and basically done properly. Chief Gatto and I had also met with South Norwalk Electric, and we had discussed the possibility of solar panels later in the future. And he pretty much said, unless we do a full roof replacement, we can't even consider that. So that's where we were at with this. We have some skylights on the roof that are original, that have lichen in the middle of the seals that are pretty much mold growing in them. There's a lot of pipe that doesn't have the proper securing on it, our gas lines, and we also don't have any roof access right now. Pretty much every time anything needs to be done, there needs to be a ladder thrown to the roof, which by code, you're supposed to have an access. And one of these skylights will be replaced with the Bilco door, allow proper access. And there's also overflow that we don't have. Technically, we have 2 drains on there. You're supposed to have also an overflow should those drains get clogged, so we don't get any excess, load carrying with excess water. That'll also be done. And pretty much there's 3 vents right now that are obsolete, that are just open, that are open to the ambient air there. And we're going to close those off, seal them up. There's an old soil pipe that was, since we've replaced the furnace, that's going to get sealed up properly. So this is we're attempting to do everything all at once in the proper way.
Okay.
I'll take any questions if you have any.
I have a question. Is this we're looking like we're coming in $195,000 more than the bidder. Is this a result of more things being found wrong, or is the bid have they underbid this? Have you looked into that? I mean, if we're closer to, what is it, Barrett is closer to what we're going to actually spend than Gold, or what is it, Gold Seal Roofing. How do we go so far? How do they go so far over what their bid is?
So I think I did some research on the companies. Gold Seal is a very large company. So typically with roofing, quantity does bring the price down, right? The size of the company. And this is a company that they did the Yukon sports pavilion for the basketball team. They've done the Torrington, train station. They've done a bunch of colleges. So their price is going to be farther down just because they do more work. As far as where we're going for, that's why we're going for Gold Seal. They're very reputable company. And as far as the discrepancy, and I think I'm answering your question, the discrepancy in price between 500 down to 318, it's all the same scope of work. It's just, obviously there's a different companies. Barrett is a smaller company and they're going to charge more. What happened was we increased the scope of work after we hired the architect because there were, this roof has been patched over the years many times. Okay. So when we get up there, you see, if you go up there, you can see many patches on it. Well, it's in the specifications there, the existing conditions. And so there are multiple things that we could have done, $150,000 will get you a good patch, but what we're doing also is we're bringing it up to, it's not even just the roofing code, it's also the insulation code, because that would not give us enough insulation. So now what they're going to do is they're actually going to take that roof down and bring it up to, I believe we're over at 6 to 8 inches where we were at like 4. So now we're also re-insulating the building properly. And that's also another code. So we increased the scope by hiring the architect. And Alan Lowe, we had met with him before we were going to do this project for that different range. And he had recommended getting an architect to really advise us to do this properly once.
That's subsequent to the request for bids going out.
Well,
The architect came in after you solicited the bids?
No. That's what happened was we had bids. We had basically money put away, and Chief can jump in too because he was there first.
I'm not talking about the budget or what was put away.
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about that they came in with they gold seal budget's $176,000. It's about $200,000 less than what's actually going to cost. And so my question is, if the architect came in and looked at the request for a bid, was it complete at that time, or did you find more things that had to be done after you put the request out?
Okay,
and
so
added to it?
No. We went out. What we have is we went out with the architectural bid. So we went out for what when we met with the architect, he said, "Here's what we need. Let's go out to bid with this." I met with Sharon and we did a walkthrough, and we put in there. There are some extras, well, not really extras, but there were some alternates that we put in there that'll bring it up. Like Gold Seals is they're up to 318. I'm sorry, they're up to
Almost 500.
Well, 500 was Barrett. I'm looking at the ones over in here for their amounts. 494.
Yeah, but when we come down to the actual number, it's going to be in the 500 range.
No. Gold Seal.
I'm sorry.
Gold Seal is down. No. Actually, what the
Gold seal
company
is 276.
That's
We add another 200,000.
Gold Seal
where-
is actually 313,000 because what happened was we with our alternates, which we would like, because those are all code alternates that we wanted to use. So Gold Seal came in.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing here, though.
Mhm.
What-
It's okay. Yeah.
What I'm looking at is the Norwalk Purchasing Department response to this, and then it gives you the 4 bids. And Gold Seal Roofing was 276.5. And now they're going to be up to about just under 500,000.
No, I see. Unless I
And
have to.
There are
We-
2
we-
alternates that you might not have that in front of you.
Yeah.
You're right. The original amount was 276.5. But there's one alternate to provide a Bilco or equal 48 by 48 inch roof, blah, 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 ladder to level below attached to block patch and refinish. That's 7,500. And then there's another alternate for a minimum 30-year manufacturer's warranty of 12,000. If you take those 2 alternates, that brings them up to 313.
I'm sorry, Chief, where are you seeing this? Is that
Um,
not-
Yeah,
I don't know.
don't have those numbers, Chief.
Yeah, so it's
But
not in the agenda.
What I have and what's confusing to me is that you have a gold seal coming in at 276.5. And then I'm assuming with the, that to bring it up to 313, you were adding in the contract contingency or whatever you call it. But actually that's not the case. There is another number. It's not 276, it's the 313 number. And does that, and so that number includes the items that you just read off, Chief, is that true?
Actually, it was my mistake. There's 3 alternates.
Yes.
There's another one that provides painting the aluminum.
Okay,
So,
all right,
yeah,
but we don't have those, but that comes up to the 313. But does that then also include the contingency amount of 31,000?
so the contingency amount, what we did is we took, so our 276,500 was Gold Seal's original. With our 3 alternates, it brings it up to 313, and then we took the 10% for contingency, just in case. And that's where that's how we came up with the
10% on the 313.
Yes, exactly.
So the real issue is today you have 148,000 available. The 195,000 covers the shortfall and the contingency. That's how to read it.
Yes.
And the total expense is 313,000 plus the contingency.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And the contingency, if it's not used, will fall back into the capital budget. I mean, I'm sure some of it will be used, but because it always is.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, I apologize that you don't have the full documents in front of you.
Okay. Yeah, we're
What's
just
the total cost it's gonna be?
So Gold Seal's total contract will be $313,000.
What are we actually, and we actually expect it to come in at that?
well, that's what it will be.
Yes. And
No,
then we
but-
put the 10% contingency just in case they find a couple things, obviously
Right.
being a 1971 roof.
So we're basically we're asked to consider approving a total of 195,900 in a special capital appropriations, correct? Or in a special capital appropriation, correct?
Yes.
That's correct. That's correct.
Last quick question for me. What's the estimated lifespan of the new roof?
So we're one of the
It'll be-
alternates is a minimum 30-year manufacturer's warranty is what we have. That's part of the alternate that we'd like to include on that. And I mean, right now we figured that was pretty important to include for that reason.
Thank you very much, and apologies for the noisy beagle in the background.
And,
Ed,
one more.
minor question. I'm looking on page 10, and if you look on page 10, it does show 195,000, but it says 195,900 requested. So is it that number, or are we just going to do the 195? I know it's only $900, but
Yeah.
Should be the 195,900.
Okay. So the resolution needs to be amended to read 195.9. Is that it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I don't know what the resolution says.
Yeah, the resolution currently says 195,000.
Okay.
So, would someone like to move to amend the resolution to read 195.9?
so moved. I have to.
All right, Troy moves it. So the resolution. Sorry. So we need to vote on that. Do we all agree?
Question, please.
I'm sorry. What?
Could I ask a question, please, before you go to vote?
Yes. Sure.
Thank you. So, Mark and Chief, I have a question that I think Mr. Freya was asking. You did an RFP. You selected an architect first to help you. And then with the architect's help, you went out for an RFP, correct?
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so now you get responses. Did you select the winner before you had those 3 alternate items?
The
No.
alternate items came back with the original bid. So Sharon sent it back to us. We included the alternates within the first proposal. So the architect, so every roofing contractor gave us their base plus 1, 2, 3 total for alternates.
And this firm was the lowest when you add all three? You
Yes,
indicate that the largest firm had the lowest price,
yes.
but this isn't the largest firm.
They came in at 313,000. The next bidder came in at 366,000, followed by 387,500, followed by 569,100. Those are the four complete.
You got
bids.
all the cost estimates and then you selected the low bidder, a reputable firm.
So yes, that's what
Yes.
we did, right?
Okay, sorry, I don't have the documents in front of me. Thank you.
Right, so I believe that Troy moved or made a motion to amend the resolution to read $195,900 instead of $195,000. I'm not sure if we need a second on the motion, but I'll second it. If we do, all in favor of amending the resolution as I have indicated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The resolution is amended. Is there any?
Can I just ask a question, just for general information? Maybe Henry can help us out on this. Does the purchasing department review these bids and to make sure that we're getting apples to apples all the time?
My experience is it's a combination of purchasing and the subject matter experts. That says we ask for an RFP, there are specifications guided, and the responses are supposed to be appropriate, but I think it's a combination. Sometimes there's a technical issue and only the department that's ordering it understands, but in general, they're checking to make sure that the terms and conditions are on the same basis.
Okay. All right.
Is there any further discussion on that resolution, number one? All right, all in favor of the resolution as amended, meaning, I'm just going to read the resolution again since we've amended it. It's a resolution requesting a special capital appropriation in the amount of $195,900 for the fire department for roof replacement at station number 5 at Meadow Street.
Isn't that what we just voted on?
We just voted on amending it, but now we're voting on the resolution itself.
Oh, okay.
So all in favor of that resolution as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries, and the resolution is adopted. Moving to resolution number 2, which has already been read into the record and moved into the record, requesting $25,000 for the purchase of 3 new vehicles. I read the materials and I just had a little confused by it. The memo dated September 12, 2022, which is on page 14 of 68, says that a bid came in at $75,000 for from Ford, I guess, from the Ford dealer. But you have $75,000 remaining in the existing capital, I guess, budget. Oh, I see. And you're requesting an additional $25,000 because of a supply chain issues and inflation. Is that the deal?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me try to explain this. We originally went out to or requested to replace 3 of the fire inspector's vehicles with Ford Mavericks, which are the smaller pickup trucks. And obviously, safety is a big concern now. So we're trying to isolate any dirty equipment or tools or gear from the members, and the pickup truck would solve that issue. So it was a smaller pickup truck. Unfortunately, we did receive 75,000, which would have covered all three vehicles. I don't know if you have a letter in your packet from my head mechanic, but Ford is not taking orders for the Ford Maverick until the year 2024. And the only way we could resolve this would be to order a Ford Ranger, which is one step above the Ford Maverick. It's still a small pickup as compared to the like F-150. The Ford Ranger is available. They are taking orders. The dealer, Gangris Ford, is a state contract dealer, which we could get them from. Unfortunately, it's going to be another 25,000 to cover the difference between the three vehicles. And that's what we're requesting tonight, is to cover that shortfall from 75 with an additional 25.
Is there a breakdown of what each vehicle will cost now?
There is, I have a copy of it. I don't know why you don't have it, but it's,
Yeah,
each vehicle comes out to
at
33.
page 16.
You do have it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so each vehicle is $33,023.80.
Yes.
and there's a bit more detail on the back side of that to show you what exactly is entailed. The base price and the options.
Oh, I see. So it's the 30,000 plus the options of 2870. Plus get 6% discount or whatever, or minus 6% discount. So it's the all right. So it's the total of basically of $33,000, and that's to get three of the same vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess it's goes without saying, you looked around and see if you could get other types of trucks that would be similar to the Ford Maverick, and the Ranger is really the only one that you could get. There's no other manufacturers that make small pickup trucks.
I'm sure there, well, I believe that the Ford is the most economical vehicle. I think the other vehicles are more. I don't have those numbers in front of me, though.
The invoice on page 16 of 68, not the invoice, but the proposal, or it indicates that the quantity of vehicles that's being requested is one, and the cost per unit is the same, at 33,023. Is there a reason why we didn't get something with the quantity being three? Is that because they currently can only provide one?
No,
Is that what you have mentioned for one?
I think there's only one here because the mechanic, I think, wanted to get, I asked him for a breakdown as to the cost of this new truck, and obviously just got the price of one of them.
Okay, but they do have.
They can get three of it. They can get more than one.
Okay.
So that's the unit price times three.
Yes, they guaranteed they have the quantity that we need. That was part of the reason for the upgrade.
I see. Okay.
And you have
Yep.
three Ford trucks that you're replacing then?
So we're actually replacing.
Mark,
That's
you
always
froze up.
happens, right?
Wake up, Mark. Well,
Maybe
we're
you could
replacing
tell us.
several older Explorers. I believe it's a 2007 and a 2005. We just hired 2 part-time inspectors. We're scrambling to find vehicles so that they could use to go out and do their inspections. Our mechanic actually picked up a couple of old police cars that he's going to try to get them on the road so we can have these guys drive those and to do their inspections.
Okay.
So in other words, the vehicles that these three would be replacing are not being salvaged or traded in any way. They're going to be repurposed.
No, well, I shouldn't say that. They're gonna be taken off the road and they could be as a surplus. I don't really know, you know,
But do you typically salvage them, or like, what do you do with these vehicles?
we usually put them up to surplus and then they go out of auction.
Okay. And where does that money go? Does that go to the city or does that go to the fire department?
Yeah, it goes to the city. We don't get it.
Yeah, the other question is, Ed, Mr. Troy, are we to assume that the purchasing department looks into making these purchases by the same process we just talked about for the, like bids, like RFPs or something? I know you said that Gangress is a state regulated firm, but I mean, before they even do Ford, I mean, are they looking at other models? I'm sure there's very similar models to the Ford 150 or whatever on other brands, and they're doing that. And are we looking for electric cars or hybrid cars also?
Well, to answer your last question, they don't make this model in electric or hybrid.
I
Sharon
apologize, my
Con-
internet went down.
Sharon Connors, the purchasing agent, let us forego the bid process because prices on the state contracts are less than what the dealer sells to somebody who walks in off the street and orders a vehicle. So we get a better price buying off the state contract.
And this is the only dealership that is a state contract?
This is one of two that I know, 4 dealers that are on there.
And there's no other brand, Toyota, or no other brand car that is on the state list?
I don't know. I don't know.
As Patrick, our mechanic, was explaining to me that they're all way more expensive, basically, is what he was saying. Because these are more base models, where like your Toyota is more of it's a higher model. And it's something just, for example. So these are the most affordable that he did through his research.
Ford has an electric truck, don't they? Don't they have a small electric truck?
I know they make a full-size electric called Ford Lightning,
Yeah, I think it's just the full size that they
and
make.
they're not even taking orders anymore.
No.
Any other
Well,
questions?
I would just think that, I know we just upgraded the fleet for the Norwalk City people, inspectors and stuff, and I know they're hybrids, I believe. I guess where possible, where it makes sense, we should start probably moving in those directions.
Right, but those are like sedan type vehicles.
Right.
We are moving away from those types of vehicles to separate, like I said, for carcinogens and the safety of our members to keep all their contaminated equipment and gear away from the passenger compartment. And that involves these small, little pickups. To me, it's just about the size of a Ford Escape, which is what they're using now. And this will replace eventually down the road.
I get it. I'm just saying, going forward, I think we should obviously, and I'm sure you are, looking into maybe electric or hybrid vehicles where it makes sense and where it's affordable and where it's available.
Believe me, it's a discussion we have all the time because people are always complaining why we don't have electric vehicles.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Items previously moved. Resolution requesting a special capital appropriation in the amount of $25,000 for the fire department to purchase 3 new vehicles. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So going forward from tonight's meeting, Do I have to go to Planning Commission and Economic and Community Development Committee? And then Finance and Claims, and then to the Common Council?
Honestly, I don't know. That's probably a better, that's a question to ask.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, this is step one in the process, Chief. Next will be planning and zoning. And I don't have their calendar in front of me, but that is actually, you don't have to go to that meeting. It just goes to their review. Actually, strike that. I think you do have to go to that meeting. And then after that, it is finance and claims. So the next finance and claims will be October 13th. And then finally, your final step will be the full Common Council.
Okay, so there is no community, economic and community development.
No, we thought that was the case for a short period of time, but they do not need to be involved in this.
Okay,
You're talking about just the roofing contract.
Both of them actually, because these are special appropriations.
Okay.
the only thing we're worried about is this forward order that we don't want the dealer to all of a sudden say, well, we can't order them anymore. So, but it is what it is. So we'll go to the meetings. So thank you very much for tonight.
You're welcome.
thank you, Chief. And
Thank you very much.
okay, next item on the agenda is other business. We have, is Lisa on right now? I don't believe she is. Okay. So we have Oak Hills and I guess year-to-date capital budget and operating expenditure reports. I'm not sure if Oak Hills is here.
I don't see anybody, Ed. I know they've been shifting their board and commissions a little bit, but
Right.
yeah, I think we sent it out to 4 or 5 of them for tonight, but I don't see any names on here.
Seems like the report they submitted is a positive one. They're over, the operating income is over by $58,000 over what's, I guess, what was estimated. They have 513,000 cash on hand. Revenue over budget is 51,000, and expenses were 7,000 lower than budgeted, and they made a payment to the city of 13,000. So that's I think overall a pretty good report. I'm actually interested if you guys would like to give us a year-to-date capital budget report and operating expenditure report. Is that something that that we can do quickly?
Well, I think it's, obviously this early in the year, it's we're in good shape. We are actually in the process of creating monthly budget versus actual reports that are a much more usable friendly format than the munis reports that you have in front of you. And we intend to get those out to the division chiefs on a monthly basis and also solicit commentary from them for any variance analysis. Why are your salaries up? Why are you under on this? Why are you over on that? That type of thing. And just do a better job of transparency for the reporting. Most of the departments have at least one, if not more, strong munis users who keep an eye on things. But we want to come out with a consistent format for the division chiefs to be able to review on a monthly basis, and also for you guys, so you don't have to pour through a 10-page report.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, and then yeah, just on the capital side, obviously we just finished the raising the summer funding, if you will, and we got a pretty decent rate on that, 3.6%. And in the weeks after the sale, or actually I should say the days after the sale, it was an extremely volatile bond market. So I think there was we timed it just right. Obviously, it's been extremely volatile all summer, but we dodged a bit of a bullet there when we went and
What were the rates up? What were the rates up to? Like after we did our deal.
But it varies for the obviously we're AAA on all 3 agencies, so we get a favorable rate, and the rating agencies tend to be very impressed with our rainy day fund and a few of the other metrics that they look at. So I would say initially we were thinking maybe 4.25 or so. So we were very pleased with the efforts that our underwriters did. So in general, it was a very favorable showing.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit more detail on the fundraising. We were looking to raise $90 million. The way the markets work, the investors like to have coupons that are above market at 4 or 5%, which means that we're issuing bonds at a premium, which means we get more cash than the amount of the face value. So what the underwriters and I agreed to with our financial advisor is we ended up issuing $82 million of bonds, but the net cash that we got with the premium was 90 million. So we achieved the cash that we needed. The true interest cost, the TIC, which is the measure that we use for balancing 30 years of term bonds that mature at different points, was 3.5887%. So we're in the 3.59, 3.6. What happened in the markets is that we priced the deal August 18th. In June and July, the treasuries started rising very significantly, but the muni bond market did not, and it was lagging. So we had the thought that we might get lucky and have and just catch the market right. About 3 weeks before we priced, the muni market started catching up with treasuries. And the movement, just to give you a sense, the week that we issued, so we issued on Thursday, we priced on August 18th. From Monday the 15th to Thursday the 18th, the interest rates went up somewhere between 15 and 30 basis points in 4 days. And that depended on the maturities. The short end, 1 to 5 years, went up 30 basis points. Out further, it was up 13 to 17 basis points. So we got caught in the middle of a very chaotic muni market, and we did a great job. We were 3 times oversubscribed at most points for issuing the bonds, and that was the strength of our AAA. Subsequently, from August 18th, the last time I looked was September 8th. In those 3 weeks, the muni bonds went up another 30 to 45 basis points. So, you know what? We can't time it. We can't call the market. This is probably the largest muni bond offering in Norwalk's history. Before I got here, we used to borrow 15 million, maybe 20 million a year. When Dr. Adamowski and the mayor made their decision strategically to improve all of the schools, we started inching up. And the last 2 years, we raised 45 and 50 million. Remember that we have this overhang of $200 million of capital projects authorized at which we did not borrow yet. So this last year's capital budget was about 40 million, if I recall, yet we're borrowing 90 million because we don't borrow by the budget, we borrow based on cash flows. And the project managers needed the cash to spend the money. So I'm pleased we got pretty good rates in this market. It was a large offering for us. By being over 30 years, we protected our debt service expense in our annual budget. If we just borrowed over a 15-year period, we would have gotten lower rates, but it would have clobbered our debt service. And we're juggling all of those factors at one time. So that's what we did a couple of weeks ago. And the money is available to be spent. and we'll see where we are going forward. I expect interest rates to keep climbing. I expect the Fed to raise by 75 basis points several times. I expect we may be facing a recession, but we're not going to get COVID or ARPA money from the federal government. So I'm very concerned, and I'm working with the mayor about trying to limit tax increases as we go forward. So step one is to put a tight guideline when we go out with the budgets. Tom and our new deputy Agnes will be putting together pro forma packages, and in October we go out to all the departments. We're going to have a tight limit on what those increases could be, and then we may try to offset some of those expenditure increases with some ARPA money and with some drawdown of rainy day fund. And again, it's a balancing act. The rating agencies love the rainy day fund, but if our citizens are suffering with a recession, we're trying to balance that all out. And there's no science, it's art. But those are our plans going forward. I'll be glad to answer any other questions you might have.
Henry, this is Troy, real quick. The reimbursement rates from the state that Bob Duff got, are those going into the new projects that have started, like at Cranberry School and everything that's going into effect now?
Absolutely. So as they, I think it was last year before he retired, Tom Hamilton did a 25-year schedule and forecast of school construction projects, and it was breathtaking. I think it looked like something like net of state reimbursement was 450 million. Now that was at the lower reimbursement rate, and it gave no effect for this inflation. So a lot of different factors out there, but yes, that will be a very important component when we do our cash flow forecast. So we tend to borrow for the net amount. We have enough cash generally for the time differential between our expenditures of capital expenditures and when we get reimbursed by the state. The problem on the bigger projects, a good example might be Norwalk High School. When we're talking $225 million, the monthly expenses, I am told by Alan Lowe, we tend to get good reimbursement, let's say within 2 to 3 months. The problem is the state withholds 11% retainage, which is common in construction. But if it takes 3 to 4 years to finish a project and 2 to 3 years for the state to audit, you're now asking me to finance 7 years of cash flow. At a certain point, I will have to bond some of that just for the cash flow differential. But for right now, we've been able to handle that with the city's cash.
Thank you. I support your vigilance, and I too would like to. I'm happy about the rating agency's recent ratings, and I'd like to stay in that range. Thanks.
Well, I pushed them to try to get 4 A's, but they refused. So we're stuck at AAA.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much, Henry. That's very, very, very good.
James, I just want to thank you guys. You guys are probably the most financially sophisticated guys. Well, the city is blessed. The pension board, the finance committee, and your good selves, you're financially knowledgeable. We want to support the city in doing in achieving its missions and doing all its good works, but at the same time, if I'm allowed to say the word financially conservative, save for that rainy day like when we had COVID, and balancing the many different pulls that we have. So we appreciate your support and guidance, and we look forward to close collaboration because I think we got some interesting times coming up.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I move that we adjourn.
There you go. James moves that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I will see you guys in the next weeks.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good
Good
month.
evening.
See you next month.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good night.